Hello my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as Kobuman. In today's video we're going to talk about VPN, Virtual Private Network. This video is really good for people trying to get into help desk or desktop support. First part of this video is going to be a presentation on VPN. It's going to explain what VPN is, how it functions, why we use it, and this and that. The second video is going to be a VPN troubleshooting example on how to troubleshoot VPN, things to look out for. And the third part of the video is kind of things to kind of watch out for when it comes to dealing with a VPN, especially when it comes to resetting passwords for users while they're on VPN connection. This is a really good and important video to learn, and I hope you find it very easy to follow. That being said, please take 1 second to click like on this button. It really means a lot to me when you guys do that. It's just kind of a excellent and a wonderful way that makes me happy that you guys do for me. I really appreciate it as always. Thank you so much. So what is VPN? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And the way that usually works is, let's say you start working for some business, for some company, and they decide that they want you to work from home occasionally, right? So what they do is they give you a laptop. They give you a laptop or maybe even a desktop, but typically it's just a laptop. They give you a computer and they say, okay, take this home and then VPN from home so that way you can work for us. What does that mean? Well, they want you to connect from home to the company's network so you have access to all the resources that you normally do so that you can work from home, right? That's what the VPN is in the nutshell. So where can you VPN from? You can VPN from home, you can VPN from coffee shop, a restaurant, a store, anywhere there is internet access, right? So this is how it kind of works. You create a virtual private connection from any other location that has access to the internet, which allows you to connect to the company's network. And I will explain how this works. Your company has a centralized computer that deals specifically for VPN. There are servers that act as a proxy, if you will, that allows you to have access to all of the other computers on that same network, on your work network, right? So you have a server that's a VPN server that you connect to, and this allows you to have access to the company's network, right? VPN is encrypted and it's safe. It's fully encrypted and it's safe. This is where authentication comes in a couple of different forms, right? The first thing that we need to do and have is software, right? VPN uses software. You basically open up this software that's going to be installed on your computer. You open it up, and this software will typically ask you for authentication, meaning login and password. However, there's a little bit more to it, right? You come to this screen and it says username and password, and you have your normal username password that you use for your normal computer, for your computer that you go to work. You go to work, you log in with your login and password, and that's fine. However, VPN is different. It's going to have a little bit more to it. A lot of times, and I hope most of the time, there's some form of token authentication involved, whether it's hard token or soft token. So what I mean by that is it's a randomly generated number that you use in combination with your password, right? You have your username that's most likely not going to change. It's your regular username. However, you'll have a password and combination of the numbers that come from the token. So imagine a hard token is basically something that's kind of small, sort of like a thumb drive size, and has a randomly generated number on it that changes typically every 60 seconds. You can have the soft token that basically does the same thing. You open it up on your computer and it just displays a bunch of random numbers that change every 60 seconds. So you type in your username, your password, and the randomly generated number, and then you will log in. As a result, when you're authenticated, now you have full VPN connection, which is encrypted. the company's network says, oh, okay, you're fine. Now you have full access to the network resources at the company that you work for. So it's the same as if you were sitting at the company's office, at your office, right? It's the same thing. You have full access to your work files, your emails, and everything else that's available to you at your office, right? That's the whole point of VPN. You have full access while you're at home when you create a VPN connection to all the resources at work. As somebody who might be working help desk or just tech support for a company, you'll have people who work remotely. And nowadays we have a lot of people working from home. So in order for them to actually be able to work, now they have to connect to the company's network. But now they can't work because they're not on the company's network. They're not physically there at the office. So they have to use VPN software to connect directly and attach themselves to the network of the company. This is why they use VPN software to do so. Now, what I have up right now is just a home user VPN that anybody can use. Not to be confused with a business VPN. This is the reason I have it up. This is going to be totally different. This home one that you can go to google.com and download free VPN, all it does is just hide your location so that way it looks like you're connected to the internet from some other country. That's all it does. It's completely different from business VPN in the sense of access to the resources that you need to work as somebody who works for a company. All right. So this is a sample of regular free VPN that regular people use, not workers. So let me show you. Here's the list of servers that they pick. So if they, for example, run this and they, for example, click Brazil, suddenly now they're going to look like they're connected to the internet from Brazil. So they're basically trying to hide their location. This is not the same thing as a business VPN. All right, that being said, let's look at a business VPN, how it kind of looks like. When it comes to business VPN, you typically get something similar to this. You launch the application and you get a similar pop-up to this. And it asks you for your username, your password, and a second password. So what is this second password? We know this is pretty straightforward. The username is probably going to be your network login or your domain login ID. It's going to be the same thing as what they use when they're at the office. So it's going to be the exact same thing most of the time. It's going to be the exact same thing as what they use at the office. Their username is going to be the exact same thing. I'm sorry for repeating that. I just want to make sure that you know this. And the password is going to be the same thing as they use for the office when they log into their computer. Second password, however, is different. This is usually an RSA token. So what is RSA token? RSA token is a one-time password that is always randomized. I think it usually lasts 60 seconds once you get that one-time password, and then it allows you to log in. You may have seen this with some websites. Some websites use one-time passwords to access your different types of accounts. It's very similar to that. So let's concentrate on this second password part of it first. This is kind of what it looks like. This is an old school way of getting that one-time password. It's an token that is randomly generated. So basically what happens is you press a button, for example, like here or there, and it generates a random number that you use as the second password. A lot of times these are either hardware tokens. This is what they are. These are hardware tokens, but there are also software tokens. Let me just kind of scroll down to show you that. You can get a software token that kind of looks like this. Here it is, this one here, where it says VPN token. This is something that's installed on their computer as well. So they'll have an icon on their computer with the VPN software. So the VPN software is going to be separate, but they have to launch this VPN token to get this random code to use as part of their login as the second password. It might be the way they put in the password, the second password for the VPN token might be slightly different, varying from VPN software to another, But in the nutshell, they're going to need that VPN token or RSA token, if you will, in order to get that second password so they can log in and access the VPN or the network that they're trying to connect to. You can also have a mobile version of that. So you can have a mobile phone. I don't know if I have an example of that here, but you can install an app on your, some companies have an option of installing app on your phone that generates this random token. So that's the first thing to be concerned about when it comes to connecting through VPN, when it comes to customer connecting to the VPN. So this is the main thing that you see when it comes to VPN with help desk when people call in or contact the help desk. Most of the time they're going to say, I can't connect to the VPN. The main thing to learn when you work for some company is to learn how they are connecting. That's the main thing. Now let's move on to other things. Let's look at VPN servers and how they are different from let me see here, from regular VPNs. This is kind of what it's going to look like for somebody, for example, working in the United States. When they will launch their VPN software, they may get a list of servers that kind of look like this. And they're all going to be in US. And all of these are most likely the servers for the exact same company. So this is all the same network. They're all on the same network. They're just different location. This is very normal when they launch their VPN software. They will see a bunch of different servers and they may choose to select one of these. The reason you want to know about this is because sometimes some of these servers will be down. It happens. Sometimes there will be way too many people trying to connect, for example, to the same one. Let's look at the capacities here, for example. You can see that the Los Angeles one is the very first one. So people automatically tend to click on the very first server available. And you can see that in this example, there's 13% capacity already, meaning that it has the most, well, this one has a lot too, 15%, but people a lot of times tend to pick the very first VPN server for their company. Either way, if they're having trouble suddenly connecting to, for example, Los Angeles here, just ask them to connect to Miami, New York, San Jose, or Seattle. So that's one other thing to kind of keep in mind when it comes to connection issues. Now, the other thing that is very common when it comes to VPN connection is that software is simply not there. So you have to have a way to reinstall software, to reinstall VPN software for the user. And a lot of times what happens is a company will set up a website that user can log into before they are connected to VPN. So, for example, what happens is they would get a link, they would type in that link, whatever that may be, get my VPN software.com. For example, this is not, I don't even know if this is a real website or not, but this is kind of what would happen. They would get a link, and keep in mind, they're at this time, they're not connected. Their problem is they cannot connect to VPN, and they don't have software either. So what happens usually is they will have a link that they go to, and once they go to that link, they can download the software and install it. So you may have to help them install that software as well if they need admin privileges, this and that. That's just a basic troubleshooting when it comes to installing software. But keep that in mind. If they don't have it, there has to be a way to get that VPN software installed onto their computer before they're connected to the VPN. You see what I'm saying? There has to be an external access or a way to initiate the VPN software installation, so that way they can afterwards connect to the VPN and have all the resources available to them afterwards, so they can just get back to work and start working. All right, guys, I believe this covers the VPN troubleshooting when it comes to help desk or general tech support. Let me know if you've encountered anything else that might be related to VPN. I think I covered kind of the most common issues when it comes to VPN. Let me know in the comments if there is anything that I've missed. I'd be interesting to hear different scenarios, different options. But keep in mind there are many different ways of initiating VPN. Companies a lot of times have their own proprietary software, different prerequisites, meaning they may have a different security. So some companies, as far as I know, may not even require a second password or RSA token, which is kind of silly. But you do see that with smaller companies that may necessarily have the manpower to set all this up and do the maintenance on it and keep up with all of that stuff. So it's going to vary a little bit, but in general, what I've explained to you is exactly the main things. There are exactly the main things to be concerned about and to learn when it comes to troubleshooting VPN connections. So with this knowledge, you can literally go, for example, to an interview for help desk, and when they ask you about the VPN, you can explain to them how VPN works in this type of sense. Again, it's totally different from VPN that you download from the internet to hide your location. It's completely different. It works the same way when it comes to connections, but it's not the same function because here you are just hiding your identity from the rest of the internet, while VPN for a business allows you to connect to the company's network, so that way you have access to all of those resources, so that way you can work, so you can get back to work. So this issue happens a lot when person's password expires. Their password expires and suddenly they cannot get onto VPN. They can typically log into their computer, but they can't get on their VPN because they don't get that prompt to change their password at all. And they can't just do Control Alt Delete. This is where you can usually click change password, or it would just force you to change the password. They can't do that because they're not on VPN yet. They are disconnected at this time. So the only thing they can do, as they typically do, is just call help desk and ask for a password reset. But we got to make sure that we don't just jump into resetting until we do a couple of things first. Let's have a look how I handle this call, and I hope you like my role playing. If you do, please take a second to like this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. So user decides that they need to change their password, so they need help with that. So what they do is they pick up the phone and call the help desk, and it goes something like this. Hi, my name is Bob. Can you reset my password? I'm having a lot of trouble logging in. Can you reset my password? Sure thing, sir. I can reset your password. So this is something you would normally say to anybody who calls in and asks for a password change or a reset. So what can you do with that? The thing is, though, you have to keep in mind that when he's on VPN, he will not be able to take that temporary password that you've given to him and change it to his permanent password. Well, why is that? He's not connected to the same domain that you're changing his password on. So the question we need to ask him first is, are you able, sir, are you able to get on VPN? No, I can't. No, I'm not on VPN. I can't log into VPN. That's why I need you to reset my password. Sure thing, sir, but keep in mind that unless you're on a VPN, me changing your password is not going to help you. Now, just to make sure, are you already logged in to the computer? Oh, no, not at the time. It's not at the moment. You want me to log in? Yes, please, sir. Please log into the computer and make sure you stay logged in. I can't give you a temporary password because the system is set up in such way where you can't change it to your permanent password until you're connected with your VPN first. And in order for you to connect to the VPN first, I got to give you a permanent password because it just won't work. You can't use your temporary password to log into the VPN. And once you are logged into VPN, you can go ahead and update all your other systems by simply locking your computer and then unlocking your computer with your new permanent password. Unfortunately, yet again, I can't give you a temporary password because of the current setup and the system setup situation that we have. And That's the only way I can help you with that. I hope that works out for you. Oh, that'll work out for me. I just thanks for telling me that. I'm gonna make sure that I use this permanent password, and then I just want to make sure I can get on right now. Thanks for your help. Sure thing, sir. I just wanted to make sure that you can get on VPN as a number one thing, so that way you can get back to work or do whatever you need to do. But yeah, is there anything else you need help with? No, I'm okay. Thanks for your help. I appreciate it. Yeah, you have a nice day. All right. Thank you, sir, and you as well. Have a good one. Bye bye. And there you have it, my friends. The only thing left to do here is show you footage from one of my videos on how to reset a password in Active Directory. Let me know if you like my puppeteering. I know you can probably see my mouse pointer moving the hands up and down. I hope this is something that people might find enjoyable. I just kind of overview of what we gone over. The number one thing to keep in mind here is that if somebody is trying to connect to VPN, they need to have a working permanent password. If their password has expired, they obviously can't change it when they're not connected to the VPN. Because remember, when you call help desk, you give them a temporary password, at which point they get a notification or are forced to change it to a permanent password. That doesn't happen when you're trying to connect to the VPN. And if you're not on VPN, you're not going to be able to get that notification or that prompt at all. So you got to give them a permanent password, and if they decide to change it afterwards to something else, they can. So this is something you can mention as well. All right, thank you so much for watching. And again, here is my video on how to change passwords in Active Directory. All right, let's go ahead and open up Active Directory. And within Active Directory on the left-hand side, you can see a folder that's called Users. If you select that, if you select users, you can see that bunch of different users and groups show up in there. So you can scroll down and look for that login or the person's name. However, the easiest way to look somebody up is if you right-click the users folder and select Find. In here, you can type in the name of the user, and he said Irvin _CAN. So it's going to click Find Now. And here it is. We found the user. We can simply select it, double click it, and it should pull up user's account. So let's see what's going on with that. He said he can't log in. So the next thing we're going to look up is the password. So we're going to click on the account. If we suspect that user is locked, in the account tab here, we can simply click on the check mark like this where it says unlock account, select apply or OK, and this will unlock the user's account. Now we can get back to them and let them know to try again. Well, there you go, my friends. This is how you fully handle a help desk call in which you would unlock user accounts. Of course, there are other things you can look at. If you go to the account, you can make some changes to it when it's related to password. If you want to change their password, you can change it here. If you select user must change password at the next logon, is something what I would highly recommend in a business environment. So this is a part of security. You want the user to have their own password. So I highly suggest that you check user must change their password at the next login, because after you change it, you give them a temporary password, they should be able to set their own. In order to change the password, we have to go back to the users folder and then find the user and then right click it and then select reset password. However, this is kind of counterpoint to what I said earlier that, if this is populated with thousands and thousands of users, it may not be easy to find. However, if you do right click on the users folder, select find, and do the thing I told you earlier is to type in Irvin CAN so we can find this user. Here, since we found it already, we don't have to dig through the Active Directory. A lot of people actually don't show this on their videos when they show how to reset the password, is that now, since you already found it, you don't have to dig and kind of like, your eyes are starting to dry out because you're trying to find this user. You can just find it here and then right click and reset password, And we're going to change the password to something temporarily. And then again, make sure this is checked. User must change the password at the next login. And then if their account is locked as well, you can check that as well. And then just click OK. And now it says the password for Irvin has been changed. Alright guys, I hope you find this video useful. Please share it with your friends. Let them know about me and ask them what they think. Are these videos useful to you? I think they are. I appreciate you watching. Have a good day, and don't forget to ask me any questions that you may have in the comments below. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.